So what I'm going to do is I've jumped right into email templates here. The very first thing I'm going to do is kind of review some of the settings that pertain to emails and email templates. So up here in the upper right hand corner, and a lot of this is going to be review, you guys, so please pardon me, but I just want to, kind of cover all bases here and just make sure that we're all on the same page. So I'm going to go into the My Profile area here, and I'm going to scroll down, and the settings that pertain to emails there's just a couple actually. One of them is enable autosave for emails and email templates. Definitely you want to select yes on this if you want to save as you go. Many people don't like that, so just toggle it to no, but by default, everything has a save and close button. Totally up to you and your preference how you want to handle that. So anyway, I've toggled it to no in this case. Another setting is your email default font. If you don't specify a font when you're defining your templates, when you're choosing your font, if you don't choose a font, it will actually default to whatever setting you have here. And there's a few fonts here, so take your pick, whatever you prefer. And there's also a email font size here. I'm sure you guys have seen this before, but again, it's going to default to this number of points for the font size in case you don't define any in your emails and be specific. One other thing is your email signature. So I'm going to jump to email signature. This is going to be your default signature throughout your emails. There's a special code that you can put in your email templates, and I will show you guys that as we go on. So what I want to do here, it looks like I forgot to put an email address in there. So what I want to do is hit return here and put my email address. And this isn't quite an email address yet, it's just text. To go ahead and put a link to your email, you want to highlight it and go ahead and hit this link button here. And there's a special URL that it's asking for this. And many of you guys have probably seen this, but it's called mail to. You just go mail to, and then you type in your email address. And then what that actually does is it makes it a physical email address so that when you do email this out, people can click on it and get your email. It'll take them to their email client right away, enabling them to email you right away. So I just wanted to show you that very quickly. Okay, so what I want to do is jump back to templates here, and we'll get into the nitty-gritty of it. And what I want to do is jump to emails, and I'm going to go ahead and create a new email template. So what I want to do is say add new, creates a new email template. It gives you a few defaults. It starts to fill in some of the fields here. An email code inside of tcDocs is basically a phrase that it's surrounded by square brackets. It's all capital letters. There are no spaces allowed, and the spaces are actually substituted with underscores. So all email codes look like this inside of tcDocs. Okay, so again, make sure it's capital letters, underscores, and always surrounded by square brackets. Okay, so there's a few codes here, as most of you guys know. All of the email codes are inside of this View All Codes button in the Actions menu. If you wanted any sort of code here, if you wanted to say, for example, an escrow related code, go ahead and type the word escrow, and all the codes related to the word escrow automatically pop up. So you can see things like you've got an email address for the escrow agent, which just gives you the email address itself. You've also got escrow email name. The difference between the two is that escrow email name prefaces the name in the email address before actually the email address. So this is good if you email it out and it comes back to you, it will actually have their name instead of just their email address in there. So I just wanted to point that out. If you actually wanted to put a link inside of an email, you can actually use this escrow email link, and that will put it in the body of the message. It'll actually be an email hyperlink. Okay, so again, hundreds of codes for you to choose from. So I'm going to hit the back button. I'll go back into the template. So what I want to start doing is there's many different ways that you can create your template. You can literally just start typing a message. Hi, Mr. Agent. And you can go on in. This is a friendly reminder. So you can go here in here all day and just start typing reminder. And I'm just going to finish out a little bit here. Okay, so you can just start typing plain text in here. You can always format the email. You can make it bold. You can make any kind of color here. I'll make red text. I'll go ahead and highlight that, turn it to yellow. So you can do any sort of formatting that you want here. Most formatting tools are available in this row, in this little formatting row here. You'll also notice there's a kind of a secret button here. It's called the source code button. If you select that, it will actually give you the raw HTML that goes into this message. One of the things that you kind of want to look for, you don't have to know HTML, but what you really want to look out for is that you basically want the text to take over from all the symbols in here. So if you have more symbols than you do the text that you've entered, you may have an issue as far as copying over hidden formatting. So I just want to kind of go through that too. So what I'll do is I'll erase this text. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop over to a Word document. And like a lot of you guys, a lot of us already have templates somewhere else. Like we may have it in Gmail, we might have it in Outlook, or you might have it in Word. All your templates, you know, when you first start tcDocs, maybe you have that and you just copy and paste into a regular email. So what I want to do is kind of simulate that, where we actually go in here and we're going to copy all of the text. So I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to come back to tcDocs, and I'm going to do a direct paste right into here. Okay, and what we notice here automatically is that there's some funny spacing going on here, and it really looks like there's a lot of hidden things that we couldn't control. So, and what I want to do is go right to this source code and see what's going on. And automatically, it looks like there's a lot more symbols than the text that you actually intended to be inside of the email. So you get this MSO normal. That's a carryover from Word, and it's actually pretty destructive as far as when you want to try to create an email template to send out from tcDocs. It really doesn't like it. So what I always recommend, I'm going to go ahead and go into this source code window again. I'm going to hit Control A to clear everything, and I'm going to hit backspace. Recommended way that you want to do this to actually put text into your email is you want to copy this again from your source, and then right click on your desktop if you're on a PC and open text document. And what you're doing is you're basically opening a .txt file which contains no formatting whatsoever. And so when you paste anything in here from a source, it strips all of the hidden formatting. So I'm going to hit Control V on that. So I pasted it from Word in this case into the notepad. And now this has absolutely no formatting whatsoever. You can see this word, it doesn't have any large characters or anything. So what I want to do is now take this and hit Control C to copy, come back to the email, and there's a couple of different ways you can do this. You can just hit Control V. And I'm pretty confident in doing that because it doesn't have any of the formatting with it. And I'm going to go ahead and remove this footer because I'm going to do a special code to represent that. So now is the time that you want to do all of your formatting here. So if you want to go in here and say this is bold for a particular date, I'm just going to bold that. So again, we're doing all of our formatting right here. And again, if you want to check it, you can go into the source code and you can see it's very, very clean. There's only these P symbols here and along with your text. So it's a good indicator that you've actually got a good copy here. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this out. And so the escrow first name, I want a code for that guy. So I want to come in here and say escrow and escrow first name. There we go. So we want to copy that. And I want to paste it in here. And again, I want to do a Control-Shift-V to remove any formatting. Even from when you have these codes up here, you always want to do a Control-Shift-V. Okay, I'm going to leave this date here for the moment. It's just going to be a placeholder. We're going to run through how we can get dates from your tasks into the email itself. One very special code that we have for putting in your signature is called MISC footer. And so if you always want a footer signature inside your templates, you would put this one code MISC footer. And I'm going to save this. You can come back to the view all codes. You can type in footer and it's available right there. At some point you probably want to have a look. I'm sure you guys have already done it, but you want to have a look and see all the various codes that are out there. You could take hours actually looking at that. I wouldn't recommend it, but yeah, you could do it. So I'm going to go ahead. So this is all saved up and we've gone ahead and made sure that all the formatting is correct. What I want to do is come back to well, actually I want to go ahead and call this demo template. Okay, so I've saved the name there. So now what I want to do is go back to transactions and I want to import this template. So select the transaction. I'm going to go into emails here. And then here I'll type in a few characters of the template name and I'll import. And voila. What it's done is it's basically taken all of the codes that we've put into the template and it's actually converted all the information to the text that belongs to the transaction. So you guys are probably very familiar with doing all this. I just wanted to kind of run through the basics of how we do that. One thing I really want to point out though is we have the ability to take dates from tasks and actually put them inside of the email templates. To do that, I'm going to jump out of here. I'm going to jump back to the templates. I'm going to go into the checklist, and I've got a special checklist here set up for earnest money. All it is just a simple checklist with 4 tasks in it. What I want to do is go right into the task, and what we're going to do is we're going to define a date placeholder for earnest money to be deposited in this case. So you jump into the task itself, and there's 2 fields for code entry. There's an email code for a due date, and there's an email code for a completion date. Okay, most of the time you're probably going to want to use the due date because you're doing introduction emails. You don't really have set dates as when things happened. You just have estimate times. So most of the time you're going to be using the due date code. But what I want to do here is now you could basically make up any code you want. It just has to be in the standard email code format. You could actually call this Charlie Brown if you wanted to. It could be anything you want. Ideally, what you really want to do is kind of make it make sense as far as what the task description is. So what I want to do is call this, I'm going to say earnest money due date. Okay, so now I've made my own code that ties the due date of this task to any email that you want to use it in. So it's always going to go with this task. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and save this guy. So I've saved the task. I'm going to jump back into the transaction. And again, I want to really point out that this is being done in the templates area. I'm doing the email codes inside the task, inside the templates area. Okay, and in this case, I haven't imported any checklist into the transaction yet. Okay, so I want to jump to the transactions. I'm going to go into the transaction, select tasks, and I want to import that checklist that we were just looking at, earnest money. I'm going to say import. Okay, and there's our task list. I'm going to double check, go into the task here, and we've got an email code for due date right there. So it came along with the task in there. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to copy this. All right, I'm going to go back to the emails, jump into demo template, and instead of having this guy here, which is kind of a fictitious placeholder, I'm going to put the code physically right there. So now that code belongs to the email template, or sorry, into the email inside of the transaction. Okay, and I've just tried to establish the link between the email and the task. Now nothing's happened yet. I'm going to hit save. All right, I'm going to jump back into the email, and hey, wait a minute, it's still there. What's going on? Why isn't it converting? Well, you have this magic button on the left-hand side in the actions menu called convert codes. Anytime you put a code into an email after the email's been imported, you can always hit the convert codes and it will convert it on the spot. So I'm going to go ahead and hit this, and it actually converts it to the due date for that particular task. So it's a really, really handy way to, if you've got a bunch of due dates, say, for example, you don't like the summary, the way the summary is in tcDocs, you could actually create your own summary within an email template, just explaining all of the due dates and the tasks that are associated with the transaction. So it's a really, really powerful thing that you guys can do. The signature, again, I'm just going to go through that one more time. You can actually come in here and say, I'm going to put misc footer again. I'm going to hit convert codes and it'll do it all day. Again, codes that are left over, if you have to go back and fill in some data in the transaction, come back to the email, you can hit convert codes. The other way to go about this is, let's say I'm going to go back here, I'm going to delete the demo template, everything that we just did. Because we have the tasks already inside of the transaction, if you go into the emails, now we can go ahead and bring in this demo template and it will convert. I didn't update the template, did I? Let me come back here, delete that. Shame on the developer. Emails demo template. Let's go in here and let's actually put it in the template. Save. Go back to the transaction. Emails. Let's import the template. And there we go. So it does it on the fly automatically. So once you have all of your checklists set up and all of your email templates set up, this is just as easy as that, and it'll convert it on the fly. So I just wanted to really point out that's how you link tasks to emails and all of their particular dates. That's basically it in a nutshell as far as doing your code conversion. What I want to do is kind of jump into a little bit of an advanced topic, and that's kind of importing formatted emails into tcDocs. And we really haven't advertised this much, but I really wanted to take this opportunity to kind of show you guys tips and tricks on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump to an email formatting program. And a lot of you guys know MailChimp is one of them out there. I'm going to go ahead and log in. And again, this is just standard disclaimer. We're not affiliated with MailChimp whatsoever. We're basically just showing this to generate a designed email template that you guys can import into tcDocs. So what I want to do is go into templates. Theoretically, this is where all your templates live in MailChimp. This isn't a MailChimp demo, but what I want to do is show you, if you jump into a design template that you have, yeah, it's pretty fancy here. What I want to do is go in here and say send test email. So I want to send this to my email as just a kind of a prototype of this email. So I'm going to go tcDocs.com. I'm going to send a test. Okay, so it's sent this to my email. I'm going to go ahead and go into Outlook here. So as you can see, I'm going to download pictures here. So it's come into the email inbox. So the first thing you need to do is I'm going to double click it here, bring it here. There in Outlook, there's a thing called Actions, Other Actions, View Source. So you can bring that up. And this is the underlying HTML for this email. You can do the same thing in Gmail. You can send yourself a test from, say, MailChimp to Gmail. I believe the way you do that is you can select the down arrow next to the reply button inside of the email, and there's an option called Show Original, and it does exactly the same thing. So it'll show all the underlying HTML. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Control A to select everything, and I'm going to hit Control C. Okay, now I've copied that entire HTML from the text editor, And I'm going to switch back to tcDocs, go into templates, jump into emails, and I'm going to add a completely new template. And I'm going to call this guy fancy. So we got a fancy email here. As you can see here, the message is completely blank. I'm going to jump into this really special source code button. Okay, there's nothing here. I'm going to hit Control V and I paste the entire HTML of that email that we just saw, the fancy email, into this editor, and I'm going to hit OK. And now everything is there for you. And all of this is it's just like any other email template. You can edit away anything that you want. So we've got New York Design Summit up here. I think we want to go ahead and change that. Let's just say this is an email code. So we'll go prop full address, for example. So I've edited one code, one piece of text. You can do whatever you want here. There's some standard MailChimp codes that come across here. You'll obviously want to get rid of those and clean them up to however the email is going to pertain to your transaction. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save on this. And I'm going to wipe out these fields here, and I'll just hard code a subject. I'll say MailChimp. I'm not going to do MailChimp, sorry. Fancy email test. And I'm going to hard code my email address right there in the to field. And I'm going to hit save on that. Okay, so we got that ready. We've got a template, very, very fancy. So I'm going to go back to the transaction, come in here, and I'm going to go ahead and hit emails, and I want to import our fancy email. And boom. So that code is just like any other text or like any other email code. It will convert it on the fly to whatever your requirements are for that fancy email. Okay, so I just really wanted to show you that you can really go nuts with these templates. So everything is saved here. I'm going to just go ahead and send it here, and I won't have you guys go through the pain of waiting for that to come across. But when it does come in, I'll show you what that looks like. So it's a really, really good way to spruce up your emails, to send them to your clients. Very, very good thing to do. Oh, it just came in. So there's our email, download pictures on it, and there it is. So you got a lot of power with this type of thing that you can do. And again, it can be any email template program. There's plenty of them out there. You could just Google anything and they're all there. We just happen to use MailChimp because it's just, it's pretty easy to use. Okay, so that's basically what I had on the agenda to cover with you guys. And maybe what we can do, we can pretty much open up the mic if you want.
We have got some questions.
We do have some questions here.
Right.
Okay, so Melissa, how do you change the signature for different teams? Right. If you go to Associates, you can pick an agent, any agent that you want. Say you've got this particular agent. As long as their client status is set to current, it opens up a whole host of options here. And one of those options is you can actually put in a signature catered to this agent right here. You can put in, again, this works just like any other text editor. You can even put a fancy, super fancy footer in there. If they want you to have a particular look for their emails, put it all right here. You can actually then also customize an email address. If they have a domain that they want you to use, you can actually put their name at whatever domain it is .com. You can put it right there. And what these two do, I should say that the TC stands for TC Transaction Coordinator. So you can actually, if you've got an agent that wants you to have a different signature for the transactions versus the listings, you can do that. LC is Listing Coordinator and TC is Transaction Coordinator. So you can do two different things depending on what area of tcDocs you're working in, listings or transactions. And these actually, if you specify it for this agent within their associates page here, it will actually override your default signature, which is back in your My Profile email signature, if you remember. So it won't even look at this. If you've provided it within the agent, it'll actually use that one for all of your emails. all emails going to them, email templates, and also status emails in this case. That's how you would actually change it for your agents to customize it for different teams. Well, that's it. That's all I've got to show. I'll let you guys go on your merry way on this wonderful, wonderful Saturday. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for attending. And we hope to see you soon and speak to you even sooner. Take care, guys.